Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtike. So I'd like to welcome each one of you for the session which is called Who Am I? Isn't it? That's the topic. All of you know who you are? So instead of my talking, actually I had done some research long back, and I found this PPT, a very powerful PPT actually. I don't know if somebody is joining from YouTube or regular people, if you join the Zoom or regular Zoom link, you can better appreciate, but nevertheless, whoever you are here, you can see this. Does it really matter who I am? And this question which has intrigued the intelligentsia since millenniums, people are trying to find the answer, who I am. It's the most fundamental thing which is the most misunderstood. Bhagavad Gītā is so powerful, so eye-opening, and there are so many verses which talks about the importance of knowing our own self. So in this small time that we have, I have to cover something which the Lord himself is taking so many verses to explain. It's not that easy. But let's make an attempt and see who I am really and how knowing that can make a huge difference in our lives. So this is dedicated to His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, the founder Acharya of the worldwide Hare Krishna movement. Srila Prabhupada ki. I actually do some research in internet, and some things when they strike, I put them together. So one of the things which I had found in the YouTube was one of the social experiment wherein, I think some country in Europe, somebody went around and asked people who they really are. And that's the starting point. We will see this video, you see, pay attention. It's so hilarious, so nice. And then from there, we will take it further.
We're doing a research study on identity, and we just have one question.
Yeah.
Can you please tell me, who are you?
My name is Christy. I am an American student. I'm from Colorado.
My name is Zoe. I'm from Cyprus.
Amy.
And tourist from Spain.
My name is Mark.
Natalie. Who am I? Well, my name's Gemma. That's who I am.
I'm successful, handsome French guy.
I'm 82 years of age, but I feel I'm 18.
Right. What else do you want to know?
I want to know more than just your name.
My job, where I live.
I want to know your essence, who you are in essence.
My essence.
Yes.
Happy person. I'm a happy girl. Someone who's trying to go through life as happy as I can.
A sassy, fun kind of guy. Just likes to have fun and yeah.
I see myself as quite unique, different. I'm quite energetic.
Your core essence, who are you? Not so much take away the traits, the culture, the family, the boyfriend, where you live, where you're from. Take all that away and tell me, who are you?
To be honest, sometimes I don't even know who I am.
That's a really hard question.
Who am I? Oh.
I've no idea.
You have no idea.
No idea whatsoever. Don't know myself, so. No.
I'm a bit lost.
A very small piece of the universe. That's what I am.
My essence is a person in the midst of a very fast technological world
question. I never really think of myself too much in that way. I get on with it. What is my essence? I don't know how to answer you. I really don't know. I've never considered it.
I think that's a difficult question. Does anyone have a ready answer?
Me, I don't know, no. To be honest, I don't know, no.
I don't think you ever really know who you are. I think you just go through life as a journey to find out who you are, but you never really know who you are.
Now I'm realize I don't know who I am. Really who I am. Yeah, that's a good question.
Yeah, it's a very good question.
But what do you mean, like, who am I?
Yes, who are you in essence?
In essence? Oh no, that's hard.
That's a little bit philosophical for me, to be honest. I've never thought of it like that. Who am I? To be honest, I don't know.
Your core.
It's such a difficult question.
Yes, it's a very difficult question. Yes.
In essence.
I don't know.
It's really complicated. I mean, if you ask me all this stuff when I had a drink, I'd probably answer it better. But I don't know if I can say any more about it. I mean, you've kind of caught me out on that one.
It's really hard. It's really hard to know. Yeah, and it's really interesting to be asked such questions so you have an idea and think about it. Yeah.
See how difficult they find it to tell who they are. Not easy. Oh, this came, I didn't want it to see that. Anyway. Point I'm trying to say is, we live a life, and if we are asked about defining ourselves, we know about everybody. We know about our career, we know about our friends, we know about our relatives, we know about our family, we know about so many things we talk about. But when it comes to who we really are, such a difficult question. And the answer to that has got so profound impact, because that is the beginning of Bhagavad Gītā, right? Understanding who we really are. And when we don't confront that question, we also think we know. Yes, we are very much aware. But it is how much we don't know who we really are, and how much knowing that can make a huge difference. That's what we will try to see in this short time. Actually, if you have to understand the position of a particular substance, there are three ways of, three aspects of that substance that we should know. One, what is it in essence? One, what is its position? And one, what is its function? So essence means, what is it that defines? What is it that defines me? What is the core of me? The core which is separate from the externals. The core which actually makes who I am. That is an essence. Like, say for example, sweetness of sugar. That's the core. That's the fundamental characteristic that defines what sugar is. What's its position? Position is with respect to others. What is it that this particular substance can do? And what is its function? What is it supposed to do? Just knowing that I'm not this body, I'm not this mind is not enough unless we know what exactly is that soul. What is it that it is supposed to do? So we saw about this. Okay, I wanted to show you another video which just went past very quickly. What we don't realize, I mean, I was just seeing, there was somebody, one of my relatives who sent a photograph of mine when maybe I was like this big, okay? And I was seeing myself, and my younger brother was standing next to me, and I was sitting on a chair, one small chair like this. I was sitting, and he's standing next to me, keeping his hand around me. So I had a body like that. Then I went to college. You become young, you become a little matured. Body is changing. And then, though people don't want to say when they have become old, but you see gray hairs. There are signs which are showing, which are manifesting. And the body is constantly changing. But the perceiver, the person who's inside, he thinks he's there, he's constant. There is nothing that is happening to him. He remembers all those things. But the change of body is something which is certain, which we can see all in our lives. But we don't realize that, and we accept, and we... why it is going there?
Head is saying I'm something. So now I'm confused because I don't know who I am. How am I going to know where I am?
Point with your finger. Where
Your eyes, yeah.
If you're your eyes, then and you lose your eyes,
Then I suppose you'd think, wouldn't you? That you'd still be there, but I might feel like I'm alone.
No, not this one. some reason that video is not showing up. It was basically a video of the bodies changing constantly of one person, how his face when he was born as a child, maybe a small face, it changes, mustache comes, beard comes, then things change, gray hair, the teeth fall, wrinkles start coming, and then one day the person is gone, right? The body is constantly changing. Even the scientists, they have done research and they say that every 7 years, every single cell in our body completely changes, right? The next, this which I had found, there is a guy by name Gunther, whatever his name, von Hagens. He's a German. And if you search, you can find him also on Google. So he does this exhibition of, he's a anatomist. Anatomist means who sees inside the body, right? He does these exhibitions everywhere, all over the world. And he goes, what he does is he preserves the dead bodies with some plastic, this thing, some chemicals in this thing, the skin when it is stripped out, he preserves them, and he has exhibits everywhere, like he goes and does. Even people like, all young, like children, parents, everybody visit and see this. When you see this, you see how striking, how when that soul is there inside the body, how attractive that is. And what it is beneath this thing that we are seeing is something which we always identify, but it has got no value, no appealing. Actually, people get repelled to this. They're very powerful, these things. You see this, the pictures. These are all there in the internet if you search for him. There's somebody trying to do, what do you call a CPR, right? And you see the complicated mechanism which is there deep within for us to function, which we don't pay attention in our day-to-day life, right? There's a striking picture of his where you see this. There is a lady, and then, if the skin is not there, when the soul is gone, what it is there in the body, it's just some chemical substance, and this is extremely repelling. And this is one of the most striking things where I searched and found this. A father going with his daughter, visiting, and similarly an adult carrying the skeleton of a child. And look at the contrast, look at the striking this thing when the soul has left the body and when soul is inside the body. Right? And our deep absorption and identification with the material body, where we live grossly in this external identities. I'm black, I'm white, I'm this ethnicity, I'm this religion person, and that leads to so much of confusion, lack of empathy, hatred, fight, war, so many such things. Because deep within, of course, this thing is not to learn how to live with the differences, but it is to see the commonality which is in the form of spirit soul. It's just the external covering which makes it whatever, somebody is black, white, or ugly, beautiful, and this thing. And that external cover is so bewildering to us, we forget to see the core, the essence. Oh, this is the second part, okay. So this was somehow, it was not coming there. Actually, if somebody keeps the pictures of ours growing through, this will be something like this. Isn't it? Yet the body is changing so subtly but surely for each one of us, yet the identification and absorption in body is so strong. So that's why Krishna in Bhagavad Gītā in 15th chapter he says, Utkramantam sthitam vapi bhunjanam va gunanvitam vimudhananu pashyanti jnanachakshusha. When you see with the eyes of knowledge, when you open the eyes of knowledge, not through your material eyes, which makes us forget the bad things and makes us do things which our mind dictates, right? If you see through the eyes of the knowledge, then you'll see utkramantam sthitam vapi. Utkramantam means the soul sometimes leaves the body, or sthitam, or it remains in the body. Utkramantam sthitam vapi bhunjanam va gunanvitam. Or sometimes it is busy, madly engrossed in enjoying the fruitive activities. based on this body. This body is the covering, or this facility which is given is for a small time. And as long as we are absorbed in this desires to enjoy this material world, we keep changing our bodies, right? And bimudha nanu pashyanti, a person who is foolish, completely mad in this, he's not seeing this transition of bodies. I have got two very powerful case studies. Okay, these are also, again, if you really want to search and if you want to see things, you will see things what you want to. If you don't want to, then there are so many things to get you, diverted and digressed. There is a lady by name Stephanie Nielsen. She was from Utah, Salt Lake City. So how did I get to know about her is, there was a blog that she had written that every mother should teach her daughter that she's not the body. And why did she say that? That's what I'm trying to say. This lady was 29 years old. She had 3 children. I don't know who's the 4th one here, but she had 3 children and married, very happy, and it was actually her sister. And this was a very happy family, and they were going around and doing things and so on and so forth. Maybe she had 4 children. I think I'm maybe mistaken. So 4 children. One day what happened, when they had gone for a vacation, they were trying to board a flight. It's a private, this thing, what do you call, like an aircraft, like a helicopter or something. They had to land somewhere. So she was there, her husband was there, and her husband's friend was there, 3 of them. The husband's friend was apparently an aviator, or he was aware of handling or driving this flight, and they landed at one place to do some refueling. The helicopter or the jet was getting filled with aviation fuel. Suddenly, for some reason, some mishap happened, and the flight caught fire. And they were inside at that time. I mean, the fueling was done, and they were about to board, and the flight got fire. Both Stephanie and her husband got burnt very badly. Stephanie was burnt, 80% of her body was burnt, and it was 3rd degree burn. And the worst part which was burnt was her face. So she recalls that she remembers being able to smell the hair burnt, like the skin's burning. There is a smell that comes. She was able to recall that. Husband also was burnt, but not to that extent as Stephanie. And she was taken to a traumatic center and somewhere airlifted, and she was taken there. She was there in a state of coma for 3 months, in a comatose state. Okay, and in those times when she was recovering, she had requested the doctor not to have any mirrors around. And her children were being taken care by her sister. She was, because she didn't want to, nobody wanted to come and see. So 3 or 4 months after that, there was a yearning to see her children, right? She wanted to. And in the meantime, what has happened, because the children were staying with her sister, the youngest one had started addressing her sister as mom, right? And then after 4 months, when she was actually ready to meet the children, the oldest one, first when she entered into the room and she looked at Stephanie, her reaction was, she just recoiled. She was just taken aback. Okay? And then, there are photos of her. This is much later. She was just so taken aback that the impact was so adverse, she went back and told her siblings not to go inside. And apparently she screamed inside, "I am your mother. And actually, I'm your mother." She wanted that pain of not being recognized, being rejected by her own children, was so severe and intense for her. And now that they were, addressing her sister as mother was just unbearable. Of course, later on, they saw her, they recognized her by looking at her eyes. Right? That's why they say eyes are the ways through the soul. Right? If you want to know the person's this thing, you can look at the eyes, not the nostrils or ear holes or any other place. So the story, so after that she had written this blog, which is very powerful and very, very this thing, that a mother should teach her daughter to let her know that she's not the body. The core within is different from this external. Know that I'm that unchangeable core. I'm your mother. Don't look at my external this thing. There's another story of a person whom I want to. This is her with the child after they recognized and they got united. Of a beautiful model by name Kate Upton. She came into limelight in 2012 when she was wearing the swimsuit for one magazine called Sports Illustrated. It's a very famous magazine, and she became very famous. She's from UK. All along in her life, she was praying to have a nice body, attractive body, and when it actually happened, when she got all the recognition, the fame, the limelight that she was wanting, she was so disgusted with that because of the comments by people and, just giving some lewd comments that I'm not a toy. I'm not here to be used. You feel deep within. What are you identifying? I'm not just this body, right? So that absorption of who we are makes a huge difference in life. When we see just the externals, then we get misled. And we think how we can manipulate or how we can enjoy, how we can use it for our own advantage. But when we see the core, which is unchangeable, which is the same, which is part and parcel of the Lord, it is our true understanding. Then a different vision, different knowledge dawns inside, different priorities come in life. Otherwise, looking at this externals, one can completely get bewildered. There is a place Prabhupada is saying, the individual soul or Atma can be compared to a diamond whose value is not appreciated because it is covered over. A beautiful diamond may lie deep underground, covered by layers of dirt and rock. Though it exists in darkness, it is still a diamond. So we may have so much of covering, so much of ignorance, but deep within the diamond is there. Right? But because it is so covered up, its intrinsic beauty and value go unrealized. The beauty and value go unrealized, and we are busy identifying with the body, bodily needs, live life, and die one day and perish and go. But when you develop this vision of knowing that the imperishable thing, the unchangeable thing which is there inside, the Atma and the soul, if you see from that, then as Bhagavad Gītā says, of course, before Bhagavad Gītā says in this, where that verse? Okay, here. The humble says, by virtue of true knowledge, sees with equal vision a learned and gentle Brahmana, a cow, an elephant, a dog, and the lowest of people, right? Because you're seeing the soul. It's just covered with the externals. Externals are different, but when you see that, you can see with equal vision. Vidya Vinaya Sampanne, Brahmane Gaviyastini. Wide range of living entities are mentioned here. Brahmana Gaviyastini, a pregnant elephant. Brahmana Gaviyastini, Sunichena, Sopakecha. A dog and a dog eater with equal vision, right? There is another verse which Prabhupada quotes this day before yesterday when we were reading the chapter 2 of Bhagavad Gītā. This verse is quoted in the section of 11 to 30, where it is mentioned that the Atma or self is atomic in size and can be perceived by perfect intelligence. We can perceive. This atomic soul is floating in the 5 kinds of air: prana, apana, vyana, samana, and udana. Is situated within the heart and spreads its influence all over the body of the embodied living entities. When the Atma is purified from the contamination of the 5 kinds of material air, its spiritual influence is exhibited. We can experience the spiritual influence, right? Like that same spirit soul, the tiny spiritual spark, is making a small ant animated, it is making a gigantic well animated, right? And it is there in the heart reason, floating in these 5 kinds of air. So what Prabhupada is saying, when the Atma is purified from the contamination of the 5 kinds of material air, its spiritual influence is exhibited. In Yoga Sutra, there is a nice verse which comes. It says, Tad bhavat sanyoga bhavo hanam tad duroh kaivalyam. When ignorance is destroyed, the identification of the self with matter ceases. This is liberation. So when the ignorance is destroyed, identification, the deep absorption, the deep identification of the self with matter ceases. This is liberation. Otherwise, this investment, heavy investment of our life in this body and mind, and working hard for fulfilling those material desires, only gives us more bodies. And we keep on doing this unless that ignorance is destroyed. That is why the identity is very important. Actually, in the name of freedom, what people say is just do whatever comes to your mind. Yeah, you felt like just do it. Nike says just do it. Right? So just do it. But that is actually the cause of bondage. When you listen to your mind, when you are deeply engrossed in your thoughts which are produced by mind and you are fulfilling all those desires, trying to get satisfaction or happiness in this material world, you are buying actually further bodies and getting yourself entangled in this. Real freedom is to be able to come out of this ignorance and see what is truly beneficial. That is what Bhagavad Gita's knowledge is meant for. He is a perfect yogi who, by compassion to his own self, sees the true equality of all beings in both their happiness and their distress, O Arjuna. So by compassion to his own self, sees the true equality of all beings in both their happiness and their distress. Right? So atmopapamyena. So by compassion on his own self, sees the equality that I am also spirit soul. These are all spirit soul in their distress or happiness. Otherwise, you will find people who, when you are in distress, they abandon you, they reject you, or when you are in a good this thing, there will be so many friends of yours. Right? This is all we experience. Such a liberated person is not attracted to the material sense pleasure of this world, but is always in transcendental state, enjoying the pleasure within. In this way, the self-realized person enjoys unlimited happiness, for he concentrates on the Supreme. There's one verse we can speak for hours. Right? Somebody, when he comes to the state of transcendental knowledge, is not attracted to the material sense pleasure, but is always in a transcendental state, enjoying the pleasure within. The real pleasure lies within. How? Because he's concentrating on the Supreme. In this way, the self-realized person enjoys unlimited happiness, for he concentrates on the Supreme. So I was talking about what is the essence. In essence, we are not this body. It's just a gross covering. Color, texture, some things may change. But this covering, we will give it up one day. Like that Ganthar's, this thing which is showing up, it will lie here. Right? Deep within in our essence, we are eternal, we are unending, we are undying. That is what is our true sense, the true core. And what is the position? The position is, it is meant to, it is part and parcel. It's a drop in an ocean. The quality of the ocean and the drop are same. But in a drop of water, you can't put a big well. Right? The well can live in an ocean. Right? So the ocean is the Supreme Lord, who is the supreme source of Satchidananda, and we are just tiny parts, so we've got the same qualities. And what is our function? We are supposed to serve him, because we are his part and parcel. The example that we were reading today in Bhagavad Gita is mentioning that, like a small part in the machine is meant to serve the machine, since we are part and parcel of the Lord, we are supposed to engage in his devotional service. And when we do that, we experience eternal bliss. No other way. Like a fish who is out of water, you give him nice goggles to wear, nice swimsuit to wear, and give him some burgers and Coke in one hand. He will not be happy. When it goes back to its original state, it becomes happy. Our original state is we are part and parcel of the Lord. Forgetting that, in that deep state of ignorance, we're busy doing everything else. And we don't listen, we don't change, we don't accept. We are stubborn. We try different things, We have failed in the past, but we have hope that in future we will become successful. That hope that somewhere, some corner there in the material world there is happiness keeps us going, makes us go, keep going in this world. In 7th canto, 15th chapter, 40th verse, Bhagavatam, this is mentioned that the human form of body is meant for understanding the self. It is meant for this. And the Supreme Self and the Supreme Spirit, both of whom are transcendentally situated. It is meant for that. It is not meant for anything else. There is no difference between animalistic society and human society. If you see, if we are all doing the same thing, busy after, going after our sense objects, there's no difference. Human life is meant for understanding the self and the Supreme Self, the Supreme Spirit, both of whom are transcendently situated. And there is one more place where this is one of the very powerful verses of Bhagavatam, one of the most powerful. 5th canto, 11th chapter is one of the shortest chapters in Bhagavatam. I would say even the shortest chapter in Bhagavad Gītā, the shortest chapter is chapter 12 and chapter 15. Both are 20 verses. This chapter has got only 17 verses. And this chapter exclusively talks about the most faulty, challenged, limited instrument with which we live, called our own mind. The mind which keeps giving us so much of troubles, which has got so much inherent limitations, and which keeps distracting us from our path, is very exclusively, very nicely described in this 5th canto, 11th chapter, and this is the conclusion, 17th verse. And the verse is, this uncontrolled mind is the greatest enemy of the living entity. If one neglects it, or gives it a chance, it will grow more and more powerful and will become victorious. Although it is not factual, it is very strong. It covers the constitutional position of the self or Atma. It's the greatest enemy, uncontrolled mind. Because this is actually from the 6th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, which Prabhupada is quoting there. If one neglects it or gives it a chance, it will grow more and more powerful. Neglects means not like, neglects means your mind is uncontrolled, you say it's okay, no problem, I'll follow. I'll keep doing whatever the mind is dictating, I'll keep following the dictation of mind. The result of that, the mind will become more and more powerful. It will grow more and more powerful and will become victorious. Although it is not factual, it is a material thing, but it is very strong. It covers the constitutional position of the self or Atma. So that's why there are two paths. One is the path of constant material enjoyment, which all of us, we don't need to be trained, which we do that because of the false understanding of who I am, because of the desires which are produced in the mind, which we try to fulfill. The other one is remaining fixed on your constitutional position, understanding your true essence, and doing function as per that of rendering devotional service and experiencing transcendental bliss. I'll pause here when I have more these things to say, but these are all very powerful. Sometimes, the image can speak 1,000 words than you explain or try to say something. When such things we see and we hear, the impact is very powerful. Not our lives, yes, my body will also lie one day here, perish. Any question, any thoughts? Why does it cover the soul? No, mind doesn't have the power to cover the soul. It's because we are not using our intelligence. We are identifying ourselves with the body. Body, when I say gross body, we can see obvious, made up of Pancha Mahabhuta, and the subtle body, which is made up of Mana, Buddhi, Ahankara, right? Mind, intelligence, and false ego. Every action that we are doing, there is an impression called samskara, which is getting formed in our mind. So those actions that we are doing are based on ignorance, based on lack of intelligence, based on lack of transcendental knowledge, where we are thinking we are the body. Now you are acting on that bodily platform. So when you act on the bodily platform, you get some material results, A. B, an impression or a samskara gets formed in the mind. And the samskaras which are getting formed, they become so strong that, and if you're not utilizing your intelligence, buddhi, then they only dictate. And anyway, you're given the power of attorney to your mind, and the mind is whatever it is coming up with, you're trying to fulfill that. Intelligence is being dragged by mind to fulfill those desires which are being produced over there. So this vicious cycle can be cut or can be eradicated, as Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita. If everything is now, if you don't have a control, if the senses are dictating, mind is given in, and mind has given in. Now intelligence also can't do anything. Intelligence is supporting mind. Then we are in a losing battle. But it is not like that. Like that, the charioteer example is a very nice analogy which Krishna gives, right? Agreed that the senses are wild, impetuous, obstinate, strong, racing, like the horses, want to go in all different directions. But those horses can be controlled and tamed with that rein, provided the rein is there. I mean, it is tied to those horses. If just for the namesake, there is one rein, but it is not even tied to those horses. Horses will go all over. But to control that rein, the charioteer should have power. If the charioteer doesn't have, he is not able to even control those horses with the help of the rope, rein. What is wherever they want to go, they'll go. So to come out of this thing, that is why the sharpening of intelligence, the emphasis which is given on Bhagavad Gita and Buddhi is, I was telling you 3rd chapter, this verse that we spoke today. The last verse where Krishna is mentioning, when Arjuna expresses his helplessness, that, what is it that, a person is why is a person acting sinfully? Athakena prayuktoyam papam charati purusha anichan, unwillingly. Anichan api bharshnaya baladiva niyojit. As if some force is impelling. Why is it that somebody is acting like that? And Krishna says, Kamaesha Krodhaesha. Kamaesha Krodhaesha rajoguna samudbhava mahasano mahapapa biddhihena miha vairinam. It is lust only, which actually if you see even the 6 enemies, when we say the class, Madhuvani Prabhu was giving this thing, how kama is the root cause of all other enemies. Kama leads to krodha, leads to lobha, leads to mada, leads to moha, leads to matsyarya. Right? So kama, krodha, lobha, moha, mada, matsyarya. So kama esha, krodha esha, rajoguna samudva, born of the mode of passion. Mahasano, mahapapma. This is all devouring, and mahapapma. This is the most sinful. Viddhiyena miha vairinam. Know for sure that this is your biggest enemy. How does Krishna conclude this chapter? That's why he is telling, Evam buddhva param buddhva, evam buddhe param buddhva, samstabhyatmanam atmana, jahi satrum mahabaho kamarupam durasadam. Durasadam is a formidable thing. Don't take it lightly. It is jnana vijnana nasanam. It can completely take you off track. Completely. Jnana vijnana. The covering is so strong, it's not like, some coverings you'll have some curtains which are transparent and thin, and this thing. That can, with the wind, it can glow. It can blow and you can see inside. But there are curtains which are thick. You just can't see what's there inside. So this is Jnana Vijnana Nasa Durasadam. This is very formidable. So what is the solution? He's saying, Evam Buddhe Param Buddhva. Buddhe, the first Buddhi is intelligence, Param Buddhva. But knowing this, Samstabhyam Atmanam Atmana. Samstabhyam is you steady your mind. First Atmana is mind with intelligence. Use your intelligence to steady the mind. There is no other way, and it can be done. Intelligence is superior to mind. Why we have to always act in a victim way, that what to do, Prabhu? There was a temptation and I fell in. Why? Like Virat Kohli, he gives this example which I likes. which I like very much. He says that there are so many people who aspire to become cricketer in life. But we are the chosen ones. We are the 11 who are playing for India. Why will I not take my physical fitness seriously? If I am representing my country, how can I be why? So if I am planning to become a devotee of Krishna, if I am saying that I'll accept or I have accepted Srila Prabhupada as my spiritual master, why will I not become a good devotee? Why will I fall in for all these temptations? Why? That most people who do not know, ignorantly they are doing. Knowingly, having taken up to this path of devotion, why will I succumb? Use your intelligence. Buddhi paryavatishthate. Esa te abhita sankhya buddhi yogam to mimanshunu buddhya yukto yaya partha karma bandham prahasisi. Using your intelligence, you will be able to karma bandham prahasisi. It's possible. We'll stop here and we will continue to see. Bhagavad Gita is very powerful, very liberating. Until we read and apply them, we will remain like that in our respective positions. Srila Prabhupada ki Granthara Srimad Bhagavad Gita